Hi folks, my name is Randy Gossman. Thanks for tuning into my channel today. So this video is going to be about my experience with buying, listing, and selling my very first house. The property was located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I got it in October of 2009. Leading up to the time where I purchased the house, I was a college professor. I was not a realtor. I was very content with just renting and not very interested in focusing on growing wealth in real estate. But in 2009, the government was issuing $8,000 of tax credit for first-time home buyers. And that's when I thought, okay, this is going to be a good time to jump on this. I had some friends that were doing it as well, and it just seemed like a really good time to take that plunge. So I got approved for around $230,000, and I had enough for a 20% deposit on that. So I just dove right in. I found a realtor, and we looked all over Hollywood. I was convinced, since I rented there and I liked the area, that's where I wanted to buy. But I worked in Fort Lauderdale, so it was a bit of a stretch. I was still just convinced that I wanted to stay in Hollywood. I had a really good realtor, and he showed me Hollywood properties, knowing full well that I was going to get a better variety in Fort Lauderdale. So we branched out there. I saw far more properties that fit my budget there in Fort Lauderdale. And within about a month of looking, I found a great place to purchase for my first home. It was a 3-bed, 2-bath, and only a little over 1,000 square feet, which isn't much, but I was single. I lived alone, so it was a perfect amount of room for me. It has a master bedroom, a guest bedroom, and an office for myself. So that was going to work out perfectly. It was listed for $219,000. I negotiated down to $200,000, and I had the seller contribute $1,000 towards closing costs. So with 20% down, I bought my first house for $200,000. I was very happy. The kitchen had been remodeled with granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, including an induction oven and a rocking microwave, and it was all really, really great. What really sold it for me, though, was this enormous backyard that it had. It had a wooden deck back porch and a boat slab and a patio area under this enormous oak tree and a shed for storage. Also, the neighbors were pleasant, so it was just the perfect place for me. I didn't like the refrigerator, even though it was new. It had no front water or ice dispenser, and I really liked that. So I bought one that I did like, and I gave that one to a friend who had just bought a house in Plantation with a really old fridge. So it was an upgrade for us both. Their upgrades, there was no dishwasher, so there wasn't a lot of room for one. So I bought a small one that would fit in the remaining kitchen area. And the house had manual crank Rollad and shutters on all the windows. So that was great for hurricanes, but all the windows were old school jalousie windows. So I had all of those replaced with PGT windows. And I'll probably do a future video about my window buying experience. I found it to be kind of interesting. So, keep an eye out for that. I had some nice Venetian blinds installed to complement the new windows. And despite passing inspection, I needed to replace the breaker system within the second year of owning it. It kept tripping, and the electrician who replaced it said it was poorly repaired at one point. I'm not sure how that got past inspection, but so be it. Also, as I moved in, the city was switching the entire neighborhood from septic to sewer, so I had to pay that cost as well. And at this point, the YouTube wizards are telling me to ask you to please subscribe and hit the magical like button. Apparently that sorcery helps to share the content. So thanks to you if you do that. Anyway, I lived there for 3 years, and within that time frame, I met my wife. She moved in, and we got married. But we needed more room. So we decided to move to a bigger house, the second house I ever bought. So keep an eye out for that for future videos. Or keep an ear out if you hit that notification bell. See what I did there? Yeah. So we moved in February of 2012, and in May I started renting out my first house for $1,700 a month. Then in 2014 I got a new renter at $1,950 a month, and another renter after that in 2016 for that same price. And the mortgage averaged out around about $1,500 a month, so I was always making profit on it. Thank goodness for that. Unfortunately, the last renter stopped paying rent, and I had to evict her. It was a long process, and I will probably go into that whole story in another video. At this point, it was getting more challenging to find good renters in that area for the price I wanted out of the house. Having been soured by my previous tenant, I was ready to just get out of being a landlord. Basically, time to sell. Now, I had gotten my real estate license by this time, but I was still working full time as a college administrator. Hadn't had much time to put into real estate, so I was excited to get the ball rolling on my real estate career with this listing. So, in October of 2019, I listed my first house ever on the MLS. Those who don't know, the MLS is Multiple Listing Service, pretty much where realtors input all the information on the house. It was very exciting and a little intimidating, having never done it before, but my broker walked me through anything I needed help with. Overall, it was a gratifying experience being able to list my own house, like using it as a guinea pig to practice for client properties that I would be listing in the future. And it didn't need much work to get it ready for market either. I painted the interior, of course. I changed out a faucet in the kitchen that was a little old school. I stained the deck, and I repaired and stained a gate out back. So it's very low maintenance. I ran the comps and decided to list it for about $356,000. And just an FYI, at this point in my career, I've listed 2 houses in October, including this one, and had a similar experience with both, having low traffic until after the holidays. If you're in real estate and you've experienced something similar to this, tell me about it in the comments below and let me know maybe what you think the best time to list a house is. So after listing, I held just one open house that brought in about 5 visits, and 3 of which were investors looking for super cheap houses to buy, and that wasn't going to be the case with this house. I didn't market as aggressively as I should have, but again, I was still working a full-time job and I had other things kind of going on. Around February of 2020, I reduced the price by $3,000. Still no takers. A month later in March, I reduced another $8,000. I was holding on to this property. Was starting to really cost me, and I was like, okay, I've got to do something. Then the pandemic hit, and I thought, okay, nobody's going to go into other people's houses right now, so this is going to really slow down moving this property. In May, I decreased it again to $339,000. But a couple months after that, I received a contract for $315,000. I negotiated back and forth a little bit, got it to $320,000. I was happy with that, and I closed the sale in August of 2020. The buyer was a realtor himself looking for a home for his family to live in, and part of the price negotiation included that he pay all closing costs and take 2% commission as opposed to the original 3% that was in the listing. Overall, I grossed $120,000 out of an 11-year investment, which is a 5.5% return annually, which is not bad in my opinion. And that does not include the profit made from the renting. So for my first listing and sale, I feel like I was a little spoiled as there was no real negatives in the experience other than the 9 months it sat on the market with no activity. But since there, I've had similarly easy sales, but also some real headaches that I'll cover in future videos as well. But yeah, that's my experience about buying, listing, and selling my very first house. Hope you found it informative. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications, and hope you'll tune in for the next video. Thanks for watching, and take care, everyone.